Esports taking to the pick and ban phase for our first draft, and already a lot of power picks being taken off the table with that Nocturne and Rumble and Lock, but the Vayne right from the get-go, recognizing and respecting the power of ZDZ's Vayne, that he was able to at least find EDG's first game victory of the split with.
Are they looking for Olaf first pick here for Zuian? This was a pick that he took first pick in their last series. It was a really big part of how they looked to play out the game, and statistically coming into this week, Zuian was the best ranked top laner out of the LPL for this split. It's the Ezreal ban, so if Zuian wants this here, they can take the Olaf blind and then sort of deal with whatever comes their way because of it. The Vayne is the go-to answer, just with the ability to dodge out on an axe as a relatively mirrored cooldown there. There are a lot of priority picks still open, and the Cassiopeia is one of them, so it does get locked in immediately, though it's ZDZ who slams the Olaf in their face.
Does Zuian take a lesson out of Cube's book and slam the Trundle top lane counter pick is the real question. They have some time. Oh, Kled! Yes! We've been seeing Kled as an answer to the Olaf pop around the world. Shout out to Shiwu. Also, shout out to Broken Blade, who is probably the only other prolific Kled player I associate globally. We're going to have some fun, Rude.
Yeah, I think they played it in the LCS last night as well, if memory serves. So it really is making its rounds as the answer to Olaf here. And with a Jarvan locked in as well for Top Esports, they've got a very aggressive top side trio. The Cassiopeia getting a little bit countered by the Sakali, might have a little bit of a difficult time of things running through the mid lane. But it's still a really nice start for both of these rosters. With EDG, there is no doubt in our minds as to what this composition wants to do. Olaf, Vi, Akali, we're going forward. Now the question is, can we get our hands on Kai'Sa? Can we get our hands on Rakan, Nautilus? That style of engage support down on the bot side. I think that's the pick that'll really round out their bot lane here for EDG. Top Esports, they've now got the option still to fall back on a Cassiopeia and try and play a front to back. Obviously, with a composition that runs into you up against Cassio, you're always sort of slightly scared of the power that Miasma has, the power that a Petrifying Gaze has. So there's an opportunity here for Top Esports to still pivot how their composition functions and try and absorb what EDG are looking to put down.
I like how EDG have targeted some of those bans in that Xayah department. She is great as one of the few marksmen that really put a stop in dive compositions and being able to succeed in that win condition, whereas Top Esports just trying to get rid of some of Leave's best overall performing marksmen, as even though a top lane dive composition would be perfectly augmented with a mage bot lane, we know that EDG don't really do well when Leave is not playing on a marksman. This guy would rather be slinging guns and bullets than throwing spells.
Yeah, and you know what? Shout out the fact that, you know, that's what you get for being a marksman player. We get into the role from the idea to right-click to position well, and we get to see now with that a element of safety on EDG's side. I don't know how I feel about the Jhin. It's a great pick that can support dives. It was Jhin, Sivir, or Kai'Sa for me, and I think the Sivir still a good pick for Top Esports if they want to take this actually for JackeyLove. Gives a little bit of an opportunity to help the Kled, help the Jarvan, but still provide some late game DPS as well. But for EDG, they lock in the Jhin. We've seen the power that a Jhin can have. Jackie had a really powerful Jhin game, and it came off of the fact that he built good items, and probably a few other IG positioning things. But so frequently we see Jhins try to build just off-the-wall picks, and it not really work for them. But hopefully Leaf can take a leave out of Jackie's book, and now Top Esports, they've responded with a Corki who can go toe-to-toe in the laning phase, which is the important part here. It can help out and try to trade back versus the Jhin, but it does mean that their late game reliability is exclusively on Creme.
Creme is going to have to be pumping with those twin fangs, and Jewel locking down the Bard. Not going to be able to stop all of these threats, especially if Olaf pops the Ragnarok before that Temper Fade comes through, and with a Shen from Parukia as well. Leave can just be chilling with a curtain call from downtown, and everyone else on EDG is going to be full sending it into the backline. So eyes are on Top Esports' front line and how they are able to receive this massive engage composition that EDG is going to be sending every single time that they get. And the real art is going to come down to how they are trying to peel these threats away from JackeyLove and Creme, but also how they decide to absorb it, because Cataclysm is going to be great anytime ZDZ is without a flash.
You know, you say the word engage, and it's not wrong to say, but it's not the traditional sense of the word, is it? Because all of these champions, they don't particularly have CC, right? Vi, yes, a little bit, but the Olaf and the Akali that are going in, they're doing damage. They're not really locking people up and supporting for other people to get in there. It's very much on a stand united alongside the Vi combo to try and get this party started for EDG. And I think that kind of scares me a little bit, because if they do walk through a Petrifying Gaze through Miasma and they don't land cleanly, their entire composition can just fall flat on itself. It can just be completely eviscerated in the space of a second.
EDG are going to have to find a nice, or at least somewhat consistent wallet differential going into the mid game here, so that when they pull off those tools, they're able to actually get into the backline without getting blown up. But let's hit Summoner's Rift for game one between EDG and Top Esports. Oh boy, Parukia. Gonna be a decent chunk. At least able to trade a taunt, and Leave walks up with him so that he and Zhuo somewhat damaged, but definitely favoring Top Esports in the level 1.
Small thing here that might end up being important. I say that, I'm looking at the junglers. It's not going to be. JackeyLove missed the ward into Tribrush there, so they don't actually have vision inside that Tribrush. I wondered if that was going to give a window for JJ to make an early gank happen down on the bot side.
Summoner heal spell used by Parukia just to get a little bit of extra movement speed, and an even bigger chunk onto Zhuo's health bar there, just having priority of the wave. As you called, since junglers are pathing towards the bottom side of the map, but a bit of a reverse clear here from JJ, as we know that sometimes Vi's who get invaded on early did not want to be spotted on the blue buff. It's just going to be taking a little bit of extra time going through his smaller camps before tapping on that blue buff.
Yeah, the most efficient clear for a Vi involves taking 2 points, not in queue, basically. So you don't have your queue until level 3 if you're going for a full clear level 4. Maybe a way to try and clear it out, but like you say, with Tian not going for any invade, knew that he was spotted on the Raptors. It does give a relatively safe time for both of our junglers early on, and importantly for TJ, that is quite nice. Tauntman spot side, JackeyLove way too far forward.
No sums on the Corki now.
Damn.
That's going to be nice for JJ if he wants to look for an early dive in the next few minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty bad from Jackie. Relatively uncharacteristic mistake for his time.
Oh, the follow-up from Parukia and Leave. They have been putting down the pain in this 2v2. First blood for EDG.
Yeah, bouncing bomb able to take the kill. Now Tian may be in trouble. Yes, has the level lead, but no bot lane.
How long can Tian be here? Oh, he flashes over the deadly flourish. Tian just really wants to show JJ who owns this river. And right now, it's the Jarvan now looking for Parukia next. There's no flash on this Shen.
Still going.
No taunt to be able to get out on Creme. Has his back. Leave has to flash forward just to trade one back.
Stun!
It's not enough damage from the auto attack. JJ has to send it with the Vault Breaker. But Kenjuo and Creme look to punish the Vi, who does not have a flash. That magical journey might be short and a little funny to look at, but it's good enough.
Alrighty, well, Mark, every single time we appear on the show, we do end up with a banger, and whilst between these two teams, it may not be long-lasting, the fight down on the bot side jungle definitely giving us a entertaining show. It's Top Esports that come out on top in the long run, largely off of the fact that Tian just refused to quit. JJ, with this clear that he took, had to walk and spend so much time pathing that he isn't level 4 at the crab spawn. And the fact that he's got a bot lane duo, you would think gives him purchase on this crab. However, it did not, and they lose out big time.
Zuian might be in trouble here. The minion auto attacks, 2 more, about to tink him. Oh, 2 more. Barely survives.
HP. Second win surely there. The resolve tree doing way too much work, I think.
Balanced runes.
Yeah, playing on the very edges there, Zuian. Utilizing the pocket pistol, knowing that as soon as he fires that, he's going to get the remount. No problem from ZDZ, though, just to test and make sure that his fingers are on. It's the last time in the LPL that this Kled top got played. That's crazy. 2020.
Been 6 years.
Longer than the last time EDG beat top esports.
True. Zuian really trying to dip into history here and prove a point that we are digging deep. But of course, as we mentioned before, because of the surgence of Olaf in the top lane and Kled answering or emerging as a new counter pick into it, it's going to be seeing maybe in the next week or so if we get to see more Kled performances, as soon as one top laner in the LPL brings out a spicy new champion, looking at you, Vayne, back in spring, eventually everyone else picks up on it.
Yeah, that's the goal, is just to populate the top lane with all of these good picks, and then everybody can try and make them work. It's top esports who have bounced back a little bit from that bot side, or bounced back enough to be able to help out Tian with a dragon start. Taking this early does mean that they've got a good opportunity to create some dominion over the early game neutral objectives. That Grub's going to be spawning in a couple of minutes time, so we'll give them the opportunity to move Tian up to that top side and try and make a play up there also. So by taking that dragon, he does ding level 6, not really going to be able to find too much of an angle into the mid lane at the very least. Akali notoriously difficult to try and lock down, but down on this bot side, Leaf still has no flash, and that could very well be the area of the map that Tian looks to exploit.
Yeah, thankfully for him, still got a sizable gold advantage into JackeyLove, and I loved how you brought up that Jachi was able to demonstrate what a Jhin building properly, what their damage can look like at the end of a game. And obviously the crit scaling does matter a lot, and sometimes can be a misconception about when Jhin functions when he is best. And I mean, if you get to that late stage of a game, he is definitely going to be bumping. But ZDZ just might be in trouble. No sums on this Olaf, and with Zhuo helping in on the play as well, he has to actually be a bit careful. That is a scary Viking. ZDZ going to be leading the charge here, but just not enough to take out Zuian. But Bulldog now getting involved into the fray, flashing forward, perfect execution, slices right through him. And even though Zuian might have called Skarl, he's just gonna run away just as fast. Parukia also helping in for the alley-oop.
Yeah, and unfortunately there, as Zhuo goes through the wall, it's just a red rag to the bull for ZDZ. He hops immediately onto the board, forces the flash out of Zhuo, summon a heal as well. Yes, he gets to live, but it's at the cost of his top and jungler, who weren't able to evade that fight. Now, Bulldog does obviously come away with a kill and an assist out of that fight, having lost out significantly on the mid lane. I think the gold actually swings a little bit more in favour of Creme, as he goes back to base, finishes off the Rod of Ages at just 7 and a bit minutes. So very, very fast Rod for Creme, who's been doing very well this entire laning phase, consistently putting Bulldog down, finds himself ahead in experience as well. So whilst it's good that Bulldog finds some kills, and that might be something that can take him to a slight advantage later on, right now he's sat on components of a Gunblade, where Creme is very happy, very juiced with the Rod of Ages.
Yeah. Creme benefiting from that very chaotic river skirmish we saw near the beginning of the game. Now Tian is collecting what might be all 3 grubs for their troubles here. I want to go back to what some of the concerns you had in the draft were. Roodood. EDG's composition really depends on having that wallet differential when you get to the mid-game spike, because there's no real tanks on the side of EDG, and like you said, there's no real engage CC tools. It's just everyone is just flying into the back line and hope that they can blow up the main carriers of top esports before they get blown up themselves.
Okay, do you get the face check? Zuian.
Oh, this guy just might be cooked here. Zuian, unfortunately, that is a not friendly Vi on the other side of that bush there. Did come at the cost of the flash from JackeyLove.
You know, it's unfortunate for Zuian. He knew something was up. Checked down into the river to see if EDG would step up. Walked down or back up to the top side, checking each of the brushes. And unfortunately, the final brush that he checks does have a Vi in it. But it is good for EDG here that they're starting to make these plays happen. JJ, when I did the stats that I was searching for, is the highest kill participation jungler in the league across both of the divisions. So really things for EDG don't happen unless JJ makes them. It's good to see that he's been able to get involved early on, especially on this Vi.
JJ was brought onto this roster for a reason. Obviously, the fact that you are reuniting the main jungler that was part of that championship winning roster adds a nice ring to it, but clearly EDG seemed to be more proactive with JJ in the lineup despite their woes, but he has at least done a noble task of doubling their overall game score wins from 1 to 2. Can't take that away from him, as right now this Kled counter pick has been attacked so many times that Zuian, despite still having a lot of tools at his arsenal, is taking a bit of a back step in being able to control this lane against EDZ.
Yeah, and I did just take a quick look here, mentioning that the kill participation is quite high. It's also proportional to the amount of games that he's played on Jarvan, which I feel like is a real big carry force for getting kill participation in fights. We'll see here, Tian obviously 100% on the Jarvan. You kind of get that as a freebie as ZDZ continues to show his way on. This counter pick isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Not especially when you have a level lead. Oh, but he flashes the undertow, tries to bait him in, but Parukia is going to join the fray as well. Can he get here in time? Ooh. Looks like the Stand United was canceled somewhere on the bottom side of the map. Must have been that Tempered Fate.
Yeah, Zhuo Tempered Fate stops Parukia from getting up to that top side and stops him from turning the play back around. Now, this comes at the cost of a dragon, but I think that will be enough to swing the tides of this top fight back into Zuian's hands. Now, the reason, of course, that Kled gets taken here, or at least one of them that I can think of, is that Kled has inbuilt grievous wounds, and some of Olaf's most powerful parts of his kit is the fact that he just heals an absurd amount of damage very consistently. Yeah, picture in picture there. And that's blind, actually, by Zhuo, so working on it, assuming or working on where we think Parukia may be, goes for the Hail Mary and lands for them. Blade used.
Oh, really nice taunt flash from Parukia. Forces the flash and the petrifying gaze out of the snake there. Could be a chance for EDG to revisit in the future, but Tian and Zhuo are gonna tell the rest of EDG to back the hell off and allow their mid laner to push in this wave.
I mean, massive lead already for top esports. Mid and jungle, both 1k gold to the good. We mentioned that the later this game goes, the more we favour top esports, specifically because of Creme. So the fact that he's 1k up feels very, very nice. And the fact that they haven't really been able to punish the Cassio, definitely a problem. Now, though, there is no flash on Creme, and I'd like to see that be a point of the map that EDG look to utilise later on, and or rather within the next 5 minutes.
TP coming in from Creme. Oh my goodness, we are getting feisty in the bot lane here. We're in between two towers here, and now Leave is going to try to cut off their retreat path with this curtain call, but everyone's got a magical journey to sail on through. And just like that, the fight sizzles to practically nothing.
Alright, no, it's good to see that both of these sides are looking for things here. Obviously, unsuccessful venture by both sides. Response TPs called by Bulldog, as we saw Creme try to make his impact felt down in the bot side. But for me, I'm not sure that this small lead for Leave is enough to balloon this game wide open for EDG. can see a 2-level disparity between the junglers right now, and catch-up XP is quite powerful, but for the time being, it's not important.
Sorry, JJ. Could not secure the blue buff, but kind of hard to do so when the enemy jungler has the 1400 upgraded smite off the role quest being completed, and you're still just operating on the 1k there. Top Esports moving as a trio, ensuring that they are punishing JJ whenever he is giving up these camp timers, as he has been a little behind the farm department, and Tian making it hurt for him.
Oh, yeah, and that's good, obviously, right? We like to see punishment coming through, and I think for Top Esports as well here. A reminder that coming into this week, they were 7-1 off the back of a 6-0 week. We were expecting Top to probably come away with a maybe 10-1 record by the end of this week, but 2 shock defeats, 1 to LGD, and then maybe a little bit less shocking, 1 to WE a couple of days ago, has put them in a weird spot where actually they have fallen in the standings, and this series versus EDG is now much more important, but for different reasons. Coming into the show, it was very much if Top Esports even lose a game here, we're sounding the alarm bells.
ZDZ is sounding the alarm bells like, hey guys, I got 4 people on my top lane turret, and I just might be dead here. Pinned into the wall, the magical binding as well, and guarantees that ZDZ is going down. And JJ, at least he can tell his top laner, don't worry, brother, I'm getting this guy's blue buff.
And that's you know, a small price to play. Worth mentioning, I have just been fact-checked. Kled no longer has grievous wounds in the kit, so that's my bad. Hasn't done for a whole year, so oopsie daisy. Top side though,
totally
Top Esports. Yeah, me too. Are looking for a fight on the top side though, looking for the Herald. Get that.
Will they fight? That is the real question. Magical Journey. Parukia tries to intercept them with a taunt, and Bulldog already into the backline. Temper Fate will stall this fight out. JackeyLove fighting for his life as he flashes over the wall, but JJ follows up. Parukia now sending it with the Stand United, but it gets canceled. Rest of EDG, they don't care about the Stand United shield because they are just blowing up everyone else on the side of Top Esports as they run them in their own jungle.
Yeah, so it's a 3-4-1 there. Creme not really able to get involved as the fight starts in the Herald pit, and everybody on EDG can hop over that wall. Cassiopeia notably cannot, so Creme takes the 1v1 versus JJ and manages to come out on top of that one after he's already taken out Jackie. But it's a big response here from EDG, and a glimmer of hope really for them in this game that they might be able to win out on future fights. But it's a start of this fight that comes from Xiaohao actually putting that portal down. Kind of shows them the way for EDG, right? This is where we're going to come out. Fire your skill shots here, guys. And it does end up costing Top Esports quite a big deal. Really good impact as well from ZDZ. His ability to get involved on the Olaf, very important. Obviously, Bulldog on this Akali has had a difficult lane, but outside of that, in the skirmishes, has looked incredible.
Back to live, Top Esports. In spite of a botched setup and exit plan from the Rift Herald, they're still back on the map, maintaining more dragon control for themselves, picking up their second. This is a Chemtech Soul game to play, so if they want to play for that win con, it's going to be about another 10 minutes before they can attempt to look for it. Creme throws on the Miasma, but no dive commit by the side of...
Love the build path actually from Creme here. Immediately going for a Rylai second versus a composition of 4 melees. Yes, Olaf is going to be able to immune the slows, but the Shen, the Vi, and the Akali are all going to really feel the ramifications of that as they're looking for a portal play.
Temper Fade onto JJ, stunned by the Cosmic Binding. Nice touch there. Cataclysm locks down too as Bulldog forced to flash away before JackeyLove guns him down with the Gatling gun. Bulldog at least gets a flash out of Creme, but no assassination possible there. And with the Rift Herald, they're going to get 2 crashes.
It's a 4v4 down on the bot side that is heavily won by Top, and now top side, it looks like Zuian going to fall.
Oh, but he cannot escape the grasp of ZDZ's Olaf.
0-4-3 for Zuian on the Kled top lane. And this isn't like EDG have spent a lot of time funneling ZDZ. I feel like this is a product of the way the skirmishes have been taken, and how those fights have ended up breaking down, but either way, it's going to be ZDZ taking the structure on the top side. Stand United, I don't think that's enough.
Definitely not when you got a Bard on the other side of that wall there. Now Parukia is like, oh, wait. This is not what I signed up for. I thought we were going to have a 1v2. This isn't fair. You brought more people.
Didn't sign up for that one. And ends up falling as well. I mean, even in that situation, I think that the Stand United is completely out of place. There's just no way that you turn that. The Jarvan absolutely has lethal onto an Olaf there, who had no mana as well. Get a replay of how this one starts, and you know what Zuian's looking for right here, Mark? It's Grievous Wounds. If he had that, baby, would this have been a different fight? Pops the Ignite down to try and pop some of it in. Either way, ZDZ able to come out on top.
Yeah, just trying to see if he can collapse onto a target here. Tian, no Flag and Drag just yet. Gets it off cooldown. Magical Journey allows them to escape their clutches here. Going back to what we talked about EDG needing in terms of conditions to make sure that they can make this composition work. They don't really necessarily have a huge wallet gap against top esports, as they currently have an overall gold advantage of 3.4k, despite some of these skirmishes going their way.
Leave is going for the quote-unquote based Jhin build that we saw come out from Diachi. It looks a little bit strange, a bit peculiar, but it does actually just do damage, which is what we want from our marksman, really, typically speaking. So Leave here going to have the opportunity to maybe carry the damage as we move later on into this game, which I feel like is a little bit of a problem for EDG. They have always got damage, but it's the ability to apply it that concerns me. Especially up against Creme. I think if anybody's in range to try to go toe-to-toe with this Cassiopeia, you need to be farmed.
Right now, Juo is getting farmed as JJ connects his fist with Bard's Mask.
It's
not enough for EDG to look for a Baron, though.
Yeah, not quite. That really just take the wind out of your sails, though, as top esports. Like, any form of tempo that you have is completely rendered useless. And you can't really do anything now. For the next, yes, death timer, but then also like 20 to 30 seconds afterwards as well. You don't get to push forward and take the game how you would like. Instead, you have to, now, like you see from Tian, start clearing out the vision that was laid down that should never be there in the first place, because if Ro's alive, they can defend it. Or they can defend those entrances. They don't allow for the vision to get placed in the first instance. And they can look to go forward and sweep the lower, or the further out vision and allow for their own vision game to be started out much better. Those deaths just can feel a little underwhelming.
Definitely delays top esports' ability to get into this bot side river and protect the vision that they want to have in anticipation for this dragon spawn, which is coming up in about 20 seconds.
Taking a look in at those items, 2 items across the board for EDG. Tempered Fate catches Dirge.
Parukia might be the first target they look at, but he just taunts over the wall. Top esports, though, continuing, and they see Leave right in their sights, but waits until Zuian's ultimate finishes before he flashes over the wall. However, ZDZ gets himself locked in that baby cage, and Curtain Call cannot do anything to answer back.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if left out to dry or running it down mid kind of vibes from ZDZ, because he had nobody nearby. Everybody was on peel duty to try to get Leave out, and all he needed to do was flash. So a very ill-coordinated fight by EDG. They lose out on the dragon. It puts Soul Point in the hands of top esports. Parukia is able to get some good vision down, which may be allowed for a TP play later on around a Baron that top esports are probably going to look to take next. We take a look at how this starts off. Good TP for Zuian to be able to become involved, and as soon as EDG split around the Raptor wall, they know who the target is. I like that Tien's holding the Cataclysm there to try to flash out, but this is, again, there's no chance, and the camera pans down to show you where the team was. Like, the camera had to move considerable distance to show you where the fellas were.
ZDZ joined the wrong TeamSpeak voice channel there. Everyone else was in a different server. JJ could be in trouble here. Tempered Fate does connect. Available, decides to send it with a cease and desist. Parukia follows up, but Creme ready to peel his carries backwards as now ZDZ finds a teleport flank. This time, the Bluetooth is turned on. He picks up a double before he goes down, and he's still rampaging havoc, forcing Creme to flash into the Baron Pit. Survives for now, but Parukia is now left out to dry, and Tian alongside Zuian able to clean up the pieces. It looked so good for EDG at the start, but the rest of Top Esports' top side rallied to win the fight.
Yeah, and importantly here, EDG have fallen for the grand bait of thinking that a marksman would be useful in 2026. Focusing out JackeyLove doesn't really do them anything. The Cassiopeia is alive, the Jarvan is alive, and that's where the gold lead is. If you're not taking out these big, heavy-hitting targets, you're not going to win the fight. Top Esports find the Baron, they're going to secure that objective as well. And it's another fight once again here. It starts with JackeyLove getting hit by the Tempered Fate, and then the re-engage comes through. JackeyLove goes for the cease and desist onto the Corki, and again, these Bard portals have not been the safety tool that I think JackeyLove has been hoping for. Straight into the waiting arms of a Vault Breaker, and then straight into an Olaf as well. But look at this the whole time. Creme actually dishing out good DPS, able to take out a large majority of the HP from there, whilst Zuian was also causing havoc on the backline. It was a two-pronged approach. The solo laners from Top Esports absolutely raining havoc.
Did he just yoink that blue buff? Wow. That's tough for JackeyLove. Tian didn't even need to use a smite for that. Yeah, well, JackeyLove is going to lose a lot there on the top side. Immediate engage on the Tian, but flag and drag backwards gets him out of harm. Meanwhile, ZDZ cleans up a tier 1 on the bot side, picks up some objective bounty gold, but Zuian says it's time to charge into the mid lane. Bulldog might be able to backflip his way out of this one, but JackeyLove has a thing to say about the previous fight and gets some sweet old revenge. The rest of Top Esports starting to just leave a trail of death in the wake of EDG's own base crumbling before their might.
Well, the good thing for ZDZ is that he can't get locked in a Cataclysm if he doesn't turn up to the fight. He's going to have to come back and try and defend the base, though. There are 4 angry members of Top Esports looking to find some retribution for last games.
ZDZ and Leaf, can they pull out a Hail Mary despite Top Esports ready to send and end this game 1? Tempered Fate will save Creme before ZDZ could get a chance to recklessly swing over the snake. And JackeyLove finally picks up a double here as Top Esports rally for game 1.
And it was pretty convincing as well. Yeah, the kill score isn't overwhelmingly advantageous for either side, but Top Esports never really looked like they were losing that game. Creme, from start to finish for me, absolutely incredible performance. Was winning out in the laning phase, played incredibly well through the late game. And for all the flack I gave Xiaohao on his portals, the Tempered Fates this game actually coming up pretty clutch. That one in the end in the base there as well. Acting as the Zhonya's for Creme to keep him alive and keep ZDZ from being able to take out the snake was a real thing of beauty.
And even a small shout out to Tian as well. The way that he aggressed on the JackeyLove in the river, in spite of the fact that JackeyLove and Xiaohao had just lost a pretty serious 2v2 on the bot side of the map, I felt like he was listening to our pre-show, Roodood, and he's like, these freaking LPL English guys talking smack. Of course, Hong and Monkey, they play better than me, but you know what, JackeyLove, he's not going to get the better of me. I have to smork this guy. The flash over the deadly flourish, that dude was on a mission.
He was, right? And it was, I think, like you say, that flash over the deadly flourish may be the beginning of the story being told, more so than anything, because that was the point where we knew, oh, okay, he's here to play, and he's not really going to take any prisoners about it. There's every possibility that you just backstep that deadly flourish and go, okay, this isn't my fight. That was not the case here. It was this is absolutely my fight. I'll take it whether you like it or not. And I don't care if I have to burn my flash to get there either. But a really solid performance out of Tian to start off with. You're quite right. And that mid-jungle duo for Top Esports, which this week has been notably lacking, fully came to play up against EDG.
It's now on them to continue that momentum forward for at least one more game to lock this series down. and allow Top Esports to continue climbing, or to climb in the standings, if not contest the likes of BLG for the #1 spot as we get closer and closer to the end of the regular season. Obviously, ZDZ's damage charts are going to look pretty darn nice. There is not only a lot of action in that top lane between ganks from JackeyLove, ganks from Duo, ganks from Tian, and Parukia, but at the end of the day, unfortunately for EDG, despite that one very good look around the Rift Herald post-exit, they just could never get a really consistent winning momentum going in this game 1.
And I do think as well, whilst ZDZ has 7 deaths, I think he probably played one of the better games on EDG here in terms of recognizing what he needed to do. When you're playing Akali, you can't afford to not be in the backline and trying to make things happen. Felt like ZDZ realized too late, but eventually did realize that Creme was the focus. And, you know, outside of the play around mid lane where they engaged onto Leaf, who flashed out, ZDZ, for me, didn't play an awful game of Olaf, just sort of bared the brunt of what Top Esports were looking to put down, and even found a couple of solo kills as well. So definitely a worthy shout-out for ZDZ here, who has been getting a good amount of respect bans thrown his way. But we get to see a couple of those highlights. That's the flash that we were talking about on the Deadly Flourish that was that sent the message.
And as the highlights continue, one of the things that I was curious about what EDG's plans were for the game, obviously when you have an Olaf and the enemy team picks Kled, you are very incentivized to try and neuter that Kled counterpick from getting ahead of the Olaf so that you are still piloting one of the more coveted power picks in the metagame today with that Viking. The problem is that I felt like Leaf got the short end of the stick after having a very decisive 2v2 lead over JackeyLove and Duo alongside Parukia. And just because of what EDG's conditions were on top side, they're like, we can't continue to play and accelerate this Jhin off the natural lead he got for himself.
And that's, you know, maybe where EDG and the shot calling or the decision making maybe falls a little bit flat, but I can see it from their perspective as well. We look at this composition. Is your win condition ever really the Jhin when you've got 4 dive champions? Possibly when you get a small lead like that, you might have to pivot, but then the rest of your team comp just feels really useless if you're looking to play a front to back with Jhin as the leading carry. You don't really want Olaf, Vi, and Akali to pair up alongside that. As EDG, it definitely feels like they needed to get winning Akali, winning Olaf to try and make their composition playable. And like you say, Leaf has to bear the brunt of that. You know that when you're locking in the Jhin, you're playing for the team. You're playing to use Deadly Flourishes, to use the curtain call to set up for the squad.
Yeah. I've definitely been in scenarios where a teammate wins their lane, and then they feel like, wow, I was useless that game. Even though they like did.
I've been that teammate. You've been that teammate.
Yes. So, as we have talked relentlessly about this EDG roster, and I didn't even see that flash from Tian. Okay. Yeah, no, he was sauce in this game. But we know that EDG infamously tends to be a roster when, if you do not play around Leave and you do not ensure that he is able to step forward and do whatever he wants to do, then it can be catastrophe for EDG. This wasn't necessarily a game where we saw Leave getting caught on sideways or getting caught on mid-wave or stepping up when the rest of his team wasn't. He was playing quite respectful, if we're going to be honest here. Just unfortunately, the game wasn't necessarily about him, and the game that it was about didn't get to flourish as much as they would like, as even though we gave our respects over to Creme on the Cassiopeia, who had a phenomenal performance on the cast, I think the broadcast recognized the shift in Tian after going 0-2 in both series against LGD and WE and saying, all right, looks like Tian is back.
Yeah, he's got to do a little bit something to get Top Esports back, and in fairness on this job, and it really did, like we mentioned a couple of times, sending that message from level 3. Shout out the Winners Club for the nod to Creme there. I do think it's worthy of getting one vote into Creme, but Tian, led the charge, was an absolute monster on the Jarvan, and really didn't relent in any sense of the word. So an excellent performance, a deserved, valid, justified, ethical MVP here for Tian.
As much flack as we give Tian in the past for things that have happened, when we see confident Tian, and it's also calculated Tian, that is best Tian. So we hope to see that this continues as much as possible throughout the regular season, as well as in this series for Top Esports, to see if they can close this one out cleanly. But for us, that's going to be Game 1 wrapped up in the books. So it's time to send it over to a short break. When we come back, we're going to see if Top Esports can close this one out in style, or if EDG is going to deliver a 9-game day dream.